when I say to the North, do not underestimate us and do not try us.
This president knows what strikes the chord of the quote-unquote forgotten man, the uneducated.
It was a cult. I felt like it was a cult. You could not penetrate them. I mean, I'm a grassroots organizer. I know street politics better than I know sweet politics.
The results last night smell exactly the same way. Our Republican friends better look out.
And welcome to Newsmax Now. I'm Bill Tucker, and co-hosting with me tonight is a very happy man, in case you can't tell it, Michael Starr Hopkins. And the reason he's so happy? Well, he's a strategist for the Democrats. He's also a contributor to The Hill, the Huffington Post, and he co-hosts the podcast Irrelevantly Relevant every week. Michael, good to see you. Glad you could be here today. We've got a lot of things to talk about. It's going to be fun today.
There's a lot. There's a lot of news last night.
Oh, yeah. And you and I are going to let's look at the singing piece of news and see it slightly differently, which should make it entertaining and interesting. So, but you already know why Hopkins is hopping tonight. The Democrats finally scored a set of victories on Election Day. Dreams of midterms. I can just see them dancing in their heads, and perhaps they should be. Well, but maybe not. Our first guest, Sebastian Gorka, might have a slightly different idea of what we learned last night, if anything. And the folks behind Fusion GPS dossier appear to be the folks behind the Russian lawyer who met with Donald Trump Jr., meeting with her both before her meeting and after her meeting in Trump Tower. There is no better person to talk about that with than John Batchelor. And reports are suggesting that the Senate wants to delay corporate tax reform until 2019. My question is, has there ever been a more inept governing party than the Republicans? That'll be my question for the show, and we'll be talking about that all show long. And we will be taking your calls. If you just want to weigh in, give us a call at 877-NEWSMAX, 877-639-7629. All right, let's get things started here. It should be a good time. Joining us now is Dr. Sebastian Gorka, former Deputy Assistant to President Donald Trump. He is the author of the New York Times bestseller, Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War. Dr. Gorka, welcome. We got some election explaining to do tonight, so we're turning to you for it. First of all, my friend here on the set, the Democratic strategist, is excited. He's reading a lot into these elections last night.
I am.
But let me ask you this question. The Democrats won a Democratic governorship in Virginia. They won it in populated counties, but if you look at the rest of the state, most of the state is red. If you go to New Jersey, they won the Democratic governorship there with a governor who had a 17% approval rating in a very, very blue state. Are the Democrats dancing too soon, or do they have a right to be excited about these results last night?
I'm very happy to have them celebrate, because that means they haven't learned anything from November the 8th. So when you double down with people like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, it is great for the president. It's great for true conservatism. Nobody's surprised at this result. If you think this is a victory for the Democrats, you don't understand that New Jersey and Virginia were never Trump territory. Remember, I'm a resident of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Virginia has changed in the last 20 years. With the influx of liberal government employees by the truckload, it has become a Democrat stronghold in those urban areas of Virginia. So
Northern Virginia,
especially somebody like Gillespie. Gillespie was a squish. He's not a Trumpian. He refused Bannon's assistance in campaigning. He didn't embrace the Make America Great Again agenda, and as a result, as a rhino, he lost.
Well, I got to push back against that a little bit, because your friend, Steve Bannon, a couple days ago was talking about how Gillespie was basically Trump light, and Donald Trump was tweeting about his support for Gillespie and how Gillespie was going to win. I think we were all pretty surprised by the range with which, now Governor Northam won. Hillary Clinton won by 5. I think he won by either 9 or 10. So, I mean, that wasn't predicted. You didn't think that was going to happen, did you?
I don't make predictions, because those are a loser's game. But you're absolutely right. Trump lied. He's not Trump. He didn't embrace the agenda. You look at him. Look, the really interesting thing is what Northam said about sanctuary cities. That's far more important as we go into 2018. We have a Democrat candidate who said he will block sanctuary cities. That's the power of the Trump effect, not the fact that in a Democrat stronghold, a Democrat candidate won. Yes, big deal. So what?
But we also
go ahead.
Democrats also won a lot. I think almost 17 seats in the Virginia House. That's the most seats that have been won by Democrats since 1899. How would you respond to that? Because I thought that Northam would win by maybe 1.5 points, maybe 2. But with that range, doesn't that have to show that there at least was some pushback on the Trump effect?
No, there's no connection. There's literally no connection. This is North Virginia, which drives the results of the election in the Commonwealth. North Virginia has become the swamp. Trust me, I live in it. It is the swamp.
That's quite the admission.
Hundreds of thousands of government employees, GS-15s, overpaid SESs. That's who makes up the most important voting bloc. And the fact is, they're bureaucrats. They're the swamp. That's exactly the anti-Trump effect. Not a surprise to anybody who understands that we're here to drain the swamp.
Well, let me ask you this, because I live in New Jersey, and none of my votes apparently counted at all last night. But the turnout in New Jersey was a record low. It was disappointing, and in fact, we're looking at record low ratings for both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. We looked at record low turnouts, not just in New Jersey, but around the country yesterday. Does that send a broader message, Sebastian, that maybe the voters are fed up with both of these parties, and maybe Republicans and Democrats should in fact be concerned?
I always think it's very dangerous to draw nationwide, massive strategic conclusions from events in one state or two states. I mean, this is a nation of 320 million people. And I'll just remind everybody, we are on the anniversary of the greatest disruption in modern political politics, when somebody who never served in public office became the most powerful man in the land. And can I just remind all of your viewers, what did the Huffington Post and the New York Times say about this time last year? Do you remember?
I have to admit, I worked on the Hillary campaign. I didn't think this would happen. I was shocked like everyone else. So I will give you that. I absolutely did not see this one coming. I didn't think Donald Trump would win, nor do I think Donald Trump thought he would win. But now, where does he go forward?
Look, let's just go back to history. A year ago today, the New York Times said Hillary is a shoo-in with 93%. The Huffington Post said 98% of victory. So, look, this is a new age. This is, I share what Mike Flynn said when he came into office. Mike Flynn said what happened last year was a political revolution. And where New Jersey goes, where Virginia goes, that's not connected to what happened last year today.
No, and I actually would tend to agree with you, because we didn't look at a change of power in Virginia. We certainly didn't look at a change of anything in New Jersey. This is a decidedly blue state. I live in probably the reddest county in the state, maybe the only red county in the state as far as that goes. But, it was interesting to me. I got a couple of other things I want to get to, but I wanted to go back to the sanctuary city comment for a minute. Because it was interesting when Northam said that today, and a lot of liberals in the audience got really upset. But this kind of fits with a conversation Michael and I were having before the show. There seems to be a moderation in the Democratic Party and a recognition that if they are going to want to win some things, they're going to need to be more like Northam in terms of moderating away from that far, far liberal representation that the party's been having. What say you?
I think that the Democrat Party is in a real crisis right now. Number one, they have to recognize the effect of common sense. When you have unemployed steel workers from Youngstown, Ohio, registered Democrats vote for Donald Trump last year, there's an issue. The Democrats realize they can't double down on the divisive identity politics, the craziness about all you need are jobs for jihadis. So his statement is a little peek behind the curtain that the Democrats realize they have to get in tune with the American people. And secondly, the House of Cards is collapsing. If you look at Donna Brazil's book, if you look at the dodgy dossier, if you look at the Fusion GPS stories coming out, the DNC's dumpster is on fire. Irrelevant, what happened in New Jersey and Virginia. They have to look in the mirror and reform themselves, because the kid's pointing at the emperor, and the emperor has no clothes on.
It's interesting. I got really quickly. We have 3 minutes left, and I want to go to North Korea really quickly. Trump over in Asia for 10 days. He is in China today. We all know that one of the things that they are going to talk about behind the scenes is China's role in resolving the North Korean crisis. Are you optimistic that the president is going to make some progress here without giving up our leverage and our edge in our relationship with China?
China has the key to this conundrum. North Korea is threatening us, it's threatening our partners and our friends, but at the end of the day, North Korea is just a puppet regime of China. China's been trying to play us both ways. The president is very, very dissatisfied with the lack of true implementation of the promises made at the Mar-a-Lago summit with Xi Jinping. If anybody can solve this, it's the president. His Asia trip has been a massive success, but now we'll see what happens behind closed doors, because the president is not happy with China. Now they have to prove that they're serious about assisting in the de-escalation.
Before we wrap up, I just want to get your opinion on whether the president is serious about attacking North Korea and whether his commanders support that decision, because we've already heard the loss of life that could potentially happen, not just with American soldiers, but South Korean soldiers, Japanese citizens, that whole peninsula. Where does the president stand on that?
I was in the Oval about 3 months ago, just the president and I, and he said to me explicitly, I remember this well, he says, I have no desire to go to war in Korea. So number one, it's not his intent to do so, but he has made it very clear yesterday, and Secretary Mattis has made it clear, if you threaten us with nuclear weapons, with ballistic missiles, if you threaten Korea, if you threaten Japan, if you threaten Guam, we will destroy you, meaning the regime, not the people, meaning the regime. And that's how you deal with bullies. No more apologies.
And he's cut back on some of the language, mocking Kim Jong-un. I just wonder whether you thought that was helpful, and now that it seems he's stopped it, is that something we should expect moving forward?
Mockery works very well against dictatorships. Dictators don't like that kind of thing. I think it's fully appropriate in given circumstances. Yesterday, when you're addressing the assembly of South Korea, you give a diplomatic speech, you give a speech based on American leadership, and that's what he did. And it was smacked of Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. That was quite a speech.
Yeah, and we can argue actually we can all agree on this point. Last 20 years of relations with North Korea has yielded nothing and has been fruitless. And there is movement this time around, and hopefully we'll get it resolved rather quickly, and not at our expense. That's my concern. I don't have enough time to get into my problems with China, because we need you and Mr. Bannon and everybody else all day long here. Sebastian, thank you so much. Dr. Gorka, great for you to come by and visit. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
You betcha. Up next, we have nationally syndicated radio show host John Batchelor. Don't go away. We'll be right back.